In the most compelling and riveting GSL in history, it's come down to this, the finals. Innovation takes on Soul Key. Zerg vs Terran, two macro players, two legendary players, two players that were exceptional at Brood War, and this is one of those finals where both players deserve to be there. They in no way got lucky or had a weak bracket. Look at the brackets right here. As we see, look who Sulky beat to get here. Maru in Flash in round of 32. The best Brood War player ever and pro gamer ever. And the best StarCraft 2 Terran ever. Just incredible. And you saw also that he beat SOS and Parting. Probably the two best Protoss players in StarCraft 2 history. Rain is exceptional though, and you can see that that's the only guy that dealt Innovation a loss in this GSL. 2-1 was the score there. Very exciting games. And this is just their most recent games. We can see Symbol and Sulky, who got first and second in the previous GSL, is who Innovation has beaten to get here. And really, when you look at this finals, you have to understand that, like, people thought Innovation was untouchable. Like, everyone thought that Innovation was going to win. It was like a question of, is it going to be 4-0 or like is Sulky going to get a game? Because Innovation looked specifically versus Zerg untouchable and infallible. This is a guy who had the craziest cheeses thrown at him and was able to weather it all, and anytime it went into a macro game, the Zerg player simply had no chance. We saw him take on literally the best Zergs at the time, the Bonjour Startail Life before he was disgraced in the previous seasons, literally #1 and #2 finisher. It doesn't get any better than that. Sulky, as we said, had no easy path. And finally, we're jumping into the best of 7, and this is the final. Go ahead and like the video. So one interesting thing about best of 7s, especially for macro players, is do you mix in a cheese? And it's an interesting question that I think is worth talking about in a best of 7. And if you're talking about best of 3 or best of 1, it's not really a discussion worth having. But in a best of 7 series, you put your opponent in a position where, despite the fact that they've been studying VODs of you for weeks and weeks and weeks, there is a chance that you can 2-rax them. TVZ, the classic 2 barracks bunker rush. Very powerful, one of the highest win rates consistently in any meta in StarCraft 2 history. Just a lethal build. And it's always this question for great Terrans, whether it be Maru or even a macro player like Innovation, how much are you going to 2-rax? When do you show the 2-rax? Do you 2-rax on big macro maps because you want to play the closer position maps and put pressure on? Innovation's a big macro player, he loves Whirlwind. That's not, Innovation's not likely to cheese on Whirlwind. He's way more likely to cheese on maps like Scrap Station, which are a little quirky, which the reason that I say that he's more likely to cheese on Scrap Station is in the very last round we saw him cheese on Scrap Station, and we see the classic 2 barracks rush coming down. And just to be completely transparent, just like most of the VODs that I've casted from this series, I didn't like pre-watch them, and I haven't seen these games in ages. Like, I remember how Game 7 of this series ends, even though I didn't watch it live, I caught the VOD, but I watched most of this series the night I graduated high school. This was like live the night I graduated high school, and I remember like obviously being very happy to graduate, but like so excited for this series because I thought like for sure Innovation is going to win because his run was so incredible. As we see some 2-racks pressure coming here, everyone thought Innovation was going to win, and he's going to throw out the 2-racks early, start to pressure. Notice he made the bunker pretty far out. Usually you make the bunker way closer. And he's going to do a secondary bunker. You love to see this because if they really bring the drones out, you just do this. Like, you're almost always going to get that first bunker down because it's so far away from their base. And then the second one suddenly becomes very worrying for the Zerg player because their hand is forced because of the fallback bunker. And Sulky very worried here as he's losing a ton of stuff, and Innovation can simply leapfrog forward into the bunkers and mass repair, even though the spine crawler's out. 2 bunkers Plus repair is very scary, and Sulky goes completely all in to drop that first bunker, but the backup one gets the kill. And you can see why I had a little bit of preamble there, Kappa, and Innovation takes the first game, as the two racks just buried him. And now Sulky is sort of having to look around and say to himself, like, wow, okay, so this is Innovation, Mr. I'll go CC first, Mr. I love the macro, Mr. Fast 3 Command Center, Mr. 6 Hellions, and that's all I need. And he's gonna 2 barracks rush me with bunkers. And that was like the classic 2 barracks play. It wasn't the very like coin flippy, like I gotta get a bunker right behind your mineral line like Marine King, or like how he played in Season 1. I mean, just look where he puts this bunker. The first one just look on the minimap. Like the first bunker goes down way out here. Sulky's committed to stopping this, and oh, the Marine's already out. Unless you bring 9 drones blindly, you can't kill that because he knows 2 more Marines are coming. He's played against 2 racks a bunch. Who hasn't at this level, you know? So it's really hard to kill that first one, and then that second one, suddenly you like start a timer here. Can the Zerg like stymie the push? Is this classic TVZ action. And Innovation intelligently puts another bunker down in a way that limits some of the surface area on the second bunker. Like everything about this is textbook. Like there have been a million 2 RAXES, even in tournament games in StarCraft 2 history, and really this one is done perfectly. To the T, this is the sort of 2 racks that like it's gonna work 99% of the time. So we just look it over again. Once you get that bunker down, the Zerg has to be able to kill that forward bunker, and then he's just soft contained. Because once that second bunker finishes, you're never going to be able to win the game. With the third one coming up, you're going to take so much damage from it where they're going to be able to fall back into the next bunker. And this is just a perfect 2-rack. This is like I need to win a tournament game 2 racks. Not just like, oh, I'm going to do a 2 racks because like I think the guy's better than me, or just like on a whim. Like Huck. Huck would famously just do like ridiculous all-ins. Not necessarily all-ins, but like goofball moves on a whim. I asked Huck about this. He hallucinated the Void Rays against Idra as like a spur of the moment thing. He went for the Mothership against Select as like a spur of the moment thing. Oh yeah, only in massive tournament games, some of like the most important games of his career, he just would like do off the wall stuff like that. But almost no one else plays like that, and especially not the Korean players. The foreigner players like seem to be over the course of time like a little bit more cavalier as far as like doing stuff like that. But I'll move it on to the next game here, as Innovation really throws the 2 racks out in a way that makes the Zerg player think about it. I think that throwing out the 2 racks here out of all the 7 games, you do it on a map where, okay, it's not Akalon where he always does it, but this is a situation where you show the 2 racks to show the 2 racks. It's like 7 betting jacks, you know. Hope you enjoyed the video.